most software, most financial services technology was built back in the 80s, right? And the broad commercialization of the internet was the mid 90s. And so 91% of payments in the US still goes through payment systems that were built back in the 80s and the 90s. And so the use cases are physical hardware experiences. They're brick and mortar retailers. They couldn't even mentally conceive of e-commerce. They couldn't conceive of marketplaces. There wasn't apps like Airbnb and Uber and Lyft that you could order from your phone. And it's kind of hard to believe, but if you think about it, there are no marketplaces in the physical world. Marketplaces really exist in the digital world. It's a product of the internet. And so in any case, what that meant was that these payment systems were all designed for a very simple coffee shop example. And when you think about a coffee shop or any sort of brick and mortar retailer, the data model is very distinct from a marketplace. A brick and mortar retailer is a many-to-one relationship in that you have many buyers and a single seller. Now, when you think about Lyft, Uber, Airbnb, and eBay, those are many-to-many relationships. You have many buyers, many sellers, and a web app that sits in between. And so that changes the entire product experience. Fundamentally changes how you think about money movement, because you're not just pulling money in, you're pulling it in and then having to pay it out. Well, that changes how you think about accounting. It changes how you think about reconciliation. It changes the compliance obligations. So every single time you pay out to, think about Airbnb, they pay out to one of the apartment owners or rental property owners. They actually have compliance obligations to underwrite each one of those locations. They're doing things called KYC and KYB, right? OFAC checks, terrorist watch list checks. They're doing bank account verifications. They're underwriting each one of those property managers as if they were a business to make sure that they're not laundering money, to make sure they're not taking on any undue risk. There's a whole mess of complexity that goes into that. And so none of the payment systems were designed for this. And so what we ended up seeing is that Uber had to build its own payment system to manage this type of payment flow. They had the Uber Money team that grew to 400 engineers just dedicated to building payment systems.